Let's just look at it. MHA got ejected.
Connecticut Mystics days.
And got thrown out of the game right here. Alyssa Thomas was driving in. MHA said, "We are not having it. I'm not having it." Well, she was not having it right off the court.
That's a WNBA forward getting tossed with 7 minutes still left on the clock, and it happened with her team already down by nearly 20. So why is a game that's basically decided suddenly turning into a shoving match? The Indiana Fever beat the Phoenix Mercury 86-77 on Monday night, but the final score is the least interesting thing that happened. Watching the post-game interview, they spoke with Caitlin Clark right there on the court. She said the fourth quarter lasted forever.
Caitlin Clark, they interviewed her right after the game on the court. She said that the fourth quarter lasted forever. She said that might have been the longest fourth quarter in the history of the WNBA. She's not wrong. It took forever.
Clark said in that on-court interview that the fourth quarter felt like it lasted forever, and she wasn't playing it up for the camera. That final stretch was a parade to the foul line whistle after whistle, and the tension had been building all night. At the center of it was DeWanna Bonner. If that name rings a bell, here's why it matters. Bonner signed with Indiana before this season, lasted just 9 games, and forced her way out of town. Now she's wearing a Phoenix uniform. She's in a relationship with Alyssa Thomas, and she and Clark already have history from a physical 2024 playoff series. So when Bonner and Clark got tangled up fighting for position in the fourth, this wasn't two strangers bumping shoulders. This was a grudge that had been sitting on a shelf for months, finally falling off.
Look at Sophie right here. She's going to play tough guy, but Sophie's just not going to have it. By the way, these two used to be teammates. There's DeWanna Bonner showing her ass as normal, and Sophie. Yeah, Sophie looks like she absolutely...
Watch how fast it spreads. It starts with Clark and Bonner exchanging words, and within seconds, half the floor is involved. Sophie Cunningham, Indiana's self-appointed enforcer, steps right in and points directly at Bonner. Alyssa Thomas rushes over to back her up, and then Natasha Howard jumps into the pile. When the officials finally untangle everybody and go to the monitor, they hand out 5 technical fouls in a single sequence. Clark, Cunningham, Bonner, Thomas, and Howard all get hit. Clark's was her 5th of the season, which means a $1,000 fine and a warning letter from the league. Cunningham's was her 3rd $500 fine. But the drama wasn't finished. Just 8 seconds after that first technical, another confrontation broke out, leading to a second technical foul and an automatic ejection. That's how you get thrown out of a game your team is winning by 19.
First quarter from hell.
First quarter was embarrassing. Got to be able to space the floor, make open shots, and get downhill. I thought we did a lot better job getting our feet in the paint. That's what allowed us to get better looks, and then we also got to the free throw line, which helped as well.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing, she called it. It was pretty ugly.
Embarrassing was Clark's word, not mine, and she earned the right to use it because that first quarter was historically bad. The Fever scored 6 points. 6. They shot 2 for 18 and trailed by 13 after 1. Bleacher Report called it one of the ugliest quarters of the entire WNBA season. And for a franchise with Indiana's history, that is saying something. Here's the detail that's easy to miss. Alyssa Thomas, all by herself, outscored the entire Fever team in that opening quarter. The most exciting moment for the home crowd in the first 12 minutes might have been Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton reaching in to free a ball that got stuck behind the backboard. And then the second quarter started and Indiana dropped 35. Same building, same roster, completely different team. That wasn't luck. Head coach Stephanie White made defensive adjustments after the first quarter that choked off Phoenix's driving lanes and forced the Mercury into low percentage shots for the rest of the night.
Caitlin Clark, again.
Start to the season in terms of her own numbers.
Way downtown. Boom. And I mean, she shot that one from the freaking parking lot. This is the pass to an open Lexi Hall. Caitlin's way down here. Way down here. There was a shot. They head back down the court. Caitlin's got it. Quarterback.
And the engine of that turnaround was Clark. She put in 15 of her 24 points in the second quarter alone, using a run of threes and downhill drives to flip a 13-point deficit into a lead before halftime. Her final stat line read 24 points on 8 of 17 shooting, 3 of 10 from deep, 9 assists, and 3 rebounds in 29 minutes. She finished just 1 assist shy of a double-double, and hold on to that because the reason why is its own story. This is who she's been all season. She's averaging a career-high 21 points and 8 assists per game. That assist number ranks second in the entire league, trailing only Alyssa Thomas. She didn't do it alone either. Kelsey Mitchell added 22 points, and Monique Billings gave Indiana a quiet double-double on the glass. But there's no confusion about the pecking order here. When the Fever needed somebody to drag them back into the game, Clark was the one who took control.
Third straight game dropping double digits in a quarter. 15 points tonight. The Fever in the first quarter, in Stephanie White's system, 6 points, 2 of 18. Fever in the second quarter under Cece's takeover, 35 points, 10 of 18. He also, and I don't think I've got that from Venom, but he also caught the fact that Caitlin Clark got pulled in the third quarter and Kelsey Mitchell got some buckets. And I was like, oh, okay. I see what they did.
Now, here's where a lot of fans online went in a different direction. The story in some corners was that Clark got pulled, benched, while Kelsey Mitchell got hers, and that something shady was happening with the coaching staff. So let's actually look at it, because this kind of thing spreads fast and it deserves a straight answer. Clark played 29 minutes. She said at the very end, with about a minute and 15 seconds left in the game, Indiana already had firmly in hand. That late substitution is the reason she came up 1 assist short of the double-double. And if you want a legitimate gripe, that's the one. But resting your franchise player in the closing minute of a comfortable win, 2 nights before you face the exact same opponent again, isn't a conspiracy. It's load management. There's a real conversation worth having about how Stephanie White handles Clark's minutes and touches across a long season, and that's fair game. But they're sabotaging her and they're being smart with her workload are 2 very different claims, and only one of them lines up with what actually happened.
This was not we talked about earlier in the day, the attendance. Right here, the attendance, 15,198. So they were basically 2,600 empty seats. And you could see it all over the place. There were empty seats.
Let's talk about the Golding for a second, because the broadcast put the announced crowd at 15,098, and you could see empty seats scattered around Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Context matters here. This was a Monday night against a Phoenix team buried near the bottom of the standings. Not exactly the primetime rivalry draw that fills every seat. Clark's presence has driven record attendance and record television numbers across the league for 2 straight seasons. And one Monday night with a few thousand open seats against a struggling opponent doesn't erase that. But it's worth keeping an eye on, because the Fever and the league had built a lot of their business case on the idea that this team sells out every arena it walks into. When that slips even a little, even against a weak opponent on a weeknight, people notice. And the second half of this home-and-home series is the real test. Same 2 teams, Wednesday night, now with a fresh ejection and 5 technical fouls worth of bad blood, serving as the marketing hook.
You got to wonder if MHA and Sophie hadn't have been playing on the court in this game at the time, would this have turned into something? The Mercury got sort of a reputation. Alyssa Thomas got a reputation. DeWanna Bonner got a reputation. Those Fever fans let her ass have it. People have not forgotten DeWanna Bonner.
So let's put the whole night together, because there's a lot more here than a box score. Start with the rematch, because it's hanging over everything else. These 2 teams reconvene at Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Wednesday night, and they are not partying on good terms. You got an ejection, 5 technical fouls, and a personal history between Clark and Bonner that stretches back to a chippy 2024 playoff series. The league has already confirmed fines are coming, with Clark and Cunningham both on the hook, and Bonner, Thomas, and Hines Allen expected to join them. None of that cools anybody down. If anything, a Mercury team that just got embarrassed on the road, lost a player to an ejection, and listened to the home crowd boo Bonner for 2.5 hours is going to walk into Wednesday's game with something to prove. Now, the basketball, because it's easy to lose the actual game inside all the drama. Indiana's now 10-7 and trending up after snapping a 2-game skid. Phoenix dropped to 5-13, and the way they lost should worry them. Alyssa Thomas was excellent with 19 points and 9 assists, and Kaylee Copper chipped in 20, but the Mercury could not knock down a 3-pointer when it counted. And once Stephanie White's defense walled off the paint after that first quarter, Phoenix had no answer. That's the quiet headline of this game. It wasn't only Clark going nuclear in the second quarter, it was a coaching adjustment that turned one of the worst defensive stretches of the season into a clinic, and that loops us back to Clark's night, which was a study in contrast. She was scoreless and subbed out during the opening minutes of that 6-point first quarter, then came back and poured in 15 points in the second to completely change the temperature of the game. 24 points, 9 assists, and a seat on the bench for the final minute once the result was decided. That's not a player being held back. That's a player carrying a team that, without her on the floor, looked completely lost for 12 straight minutes. The officiating is going to be its own debate, and it's a fair one. Clark herself said that fourth quarter felt endless. When you've got this much built-up friction between 2 rosters, how the officials manage the rematch is going to matter as much as anything either team does. A tightly called game keeps a lid on it. a loosely called one with this group could get away from everybody in a hurry. Then there's Bonner, who is the emotional center of all of this, whether she wants the role or not. She forced her way out of Indiana early this season. The fans have not forgotten it, and they let her hear about it all night, to the point that a Mercury teammate publicly criticized those fans for booing her. You can interpret that situation however you like, but the reality is that every time these teams meet now, Bonner is the lightning rod, and Wednesday's going to be louder, not quieter. So here's the question I want you to answer down in the comments, and you have to pick a side because you can't have it both ways. Was Damaris Dantas Hines-Allen right to step in and risk an ejection while defending her teammates and sending a message? Or did she cost her team and her own wallet for nothing in a game that was already over? One of those is leadership. The other is a 19-point lead and an empty gesture. Tell me which one you saw. And if you want the full breakdown of Wednesday's rematch the second it ends, you already know what to do. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you right after the game.